Hi, Daria, how's it going?
Hey, hello, Zara. All good, thank you.
Happy holidays, Happy New Year. Really good to see you.
True.
How are you doing?
All good, fine. I'm in Innsbruck now, studying a PhD and working on some projects, so very interesting.
You're super busy, so I'm very happy that you made the time for this interview. So thank you so much. First question, what do you do and what is your creative practice?
I'm an architect by education, but a few years ago I studied also artistic projects, and we studied with my husband Studio ephemeera 1, where we were playing with extended reality tools, virtual reality, and all XR. What that was happening at that moment, it was the COVID time, and the artistic practice was evolving more into playing with data, playing with extended reality tools, and creating digital sculptures out of a mix of this. And right now, I'm gravitating towards architectural practice one more time, like by a spiral. I'm now trying to connect all those experiments with architectural practices and architectural creating habitats. And this topic would be like my topic of research for the PhD.
Nice. That's super interesting. Could you please tell us how did Ephemera 1 start and what is the range of projects you do?
Yeah, so we started just by exploring the tools, and like VR was super exciting at that moment. And we created a number of projects with virtual spaces, and like different for some exhibitions, for events. And but by doing this, I just realized that the virtual architecture it is so different from real, as we know, and the biggest value, as I figure out for myself, was this like architecture being an architecture of experience and architecture of excitement, like the very big thing that architecture has. And that moment we realized that VR and XR could be like spaces could be used as storytelling machines that are showing some information or leading the visitor through some process. And that virtual architecture is also very interesting from the position of time, because it can evolve and update, and it is not as stable as real world architecture. And from that point, we started to test the way that how can it update, how can it tell a story. And one of the projects that was the first one of a range was Encave. It was about the numbers and the data on COVID victims. And we took this data that was open in the internet and tried to generate from that a space that tells the story. Like you don't see the numbers or try to analyze a table, but you go through a space that is generated by the numbers and could evolve in time. And this is like the feeling of data. And afterwards, we were working on this datascapes theme, like some spaces or sculptures that are generated from data on various uh, various
Topic.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, various topic. And afterwards, it was also interesting, like the next step of this research. We started to collaborate with the Sovereign Nature Initiative. This is an organization which helping natural reserves and natural organizations to monetize data and monetize information that they collect about animals. And we tried to create various artistic projects that represent the data that is collected on animals like whales
Mm.
or lions, etc. And with these virtual reality tools and extended reality tools, it could be represented as an immersive experience, way or a nice perspective to dig in or to flow through the data.
That's amazing. That's super interesting. Out of all the projects you've done in Ephemera 1, which was the one project that took so much energy and so much effort to make it happen?
Yeah, so I have a number of projects that are like really leading me through this time. And one of the interesting that is connected to the stuff that I was telling about was tracing the wild. It was a project about using data on lines collected by a natural conservancy in Masai Mara Natural Reserve, and trying to represent it as a 3D sculpture, as a digital sculpture. And I was really working on that quite a long time among a big team of a really nice team of participants of the project. And at the end, we created a series of data portraits of 3 lines living in that area. And this was also like the connection between creating some digital objects, but also that encoding into them some important information, which could be discovered by like going through the space or rotating or etc. And give some information. And another project was like something that interests me even more right now. That was Nature Cognita. I participated in that more like as an artist, not as Ephemera 1 block, but still like there was still my partner and Yelena and Ivan Mitrofanovi. So we were creating an installation that was Yelena's idea of creating, putting plants into the pot, which has sensors and which actually harvests electricity from chemical processes inside the soil. And from those sensors, we gathered the data and represented it as a virtual avatar of the plant, so that when the sensors are showing like different dynamics, the plant, the avatar is changing and representing like bad or good state. And this project, it actually like it had everything which interests me, all the topics that interest me at that moment, at this moment. It was at the same time physical and virtual, and organic and inorganic, like all components, which are really interesting for me right now, because I want to focus on creating some physical objects that have a digital counterpart and that combine various components and have an avatar, but also could be seen in the physical world. So this is intersection which interests me right now.
Wow, that is super interesting. I love this enthusiasm with connecting this virtual kind of digital information and data to the real world and the physicalities of the real world, which is why I think that's such an interesting project. And my next question is, what are you currently working on and what is next for you?
Yeah, but this was the topic about this hybridity, like how can we create something? And right now I'm digging into literature and into like research which has done before, especially in the field of architecture and like what are the basics. And it leads to cybernetic architecture, which is updating and having feedback loops and evolving in time. And it's a super interesting point. And also ecology and like being here in Innsbruck, it's very exciting because the biodiversity here and number of various vegetation and biodiversity zones are so huge that you're just immersed into experiments and into wandering and scanning and checking the stuff. And this ecology point of view is also super interesting because we see that like everything is connected, everything is a mesh of interconnected living and non-living objects, and everything is connected through energy flows, right? So like the grass is being food for animals, those animals being food for like others, and this is like the connection. And right now I'm trying to figure out like how we can embed architecture into these ecological systems, like how it can not be not even not natural, but play a role in this system and support biodiversity. And one of the ways is by using this ecology data at the beginning, like in the core of the design, but also creating these cybernetic loops and like understanding and getting information on the performance of architecture or sculpture or structure. And this is the topic, like creating interfaces between human and non-human beings, and creating like ways to communicate and to understand the current situation of locality, like ecology in localities, not in the whole world or somewhere, but like how to understand what's happening right here, right now, and what's the impact of architecture.
Amazing. I just seriously have so much respect for you and your practice. Just the range of projects that you do is so exciting. You know, I really look forward to the future of VR and extended realities. And something that I really appreciate about your work is that you have this really lovely range. Like, yes, you have done commercial projects like for brands exhibiting their, you know, bags, you know, in a store, but also you have this very like intellectual research that's related to ecology, time, you know, this data being sort of blended into this new like sculpture or experience. And I remember we met during COVID during this workshop, and in that workshop you were leading like 20, 25 participants, and sort of that was the first time I interacted with VR. I was a student back then, and I was just so like absorbed into this whole, you know, concept of virtual reality, not in the superficial sense. Like a lot of people just sort of, you know, have a judgment towards VR, you know, but if you actually look at its positive capabilities, it could be quite a remarkable tool. And now with AI and all of the sort of fusions of softwares and I just find it so exciting that you're doing the research that you do, and I'm so excited to see what, you know, you're gonna do next.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah.